I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
After the Super Bowl, when the dust clears, on May 7th, there's still one more score to settle. The Mummy.
This just keeps getting better and better.
This film is not yet rated.
Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another review, or I should say re-review. This is a Patreon request from Forrest. I believe I even let him know I have reviewed the Mummy films, but he's like, no, that's fine. I like to re-review. And I did say I'm more than willing to do whether review or re-review or movie topic or whatever for anyone who either supports me, requests it via directly to PayPal or by being part of my Patreon. If anyone's ever interested, the links are down below. If not, no worries. And plus, hey, I'm glad to talk about The Mummy again, because I think it's a very entertaining, fun adventure movie. It's in the style of Indiana Jones, escapism adventure, started by Stephen Sommers, who I thought did a great job in his previous film, Deep Rising. I think that's very underrated. I don't know if that film or something else got him the job here. I know throughout the years, George Romero wanted to do a Mummy film, and I like George Romero, but one thing George Romero, he doesn't seem like he handled action that well. I mean, granted, I like some of the action moments in, say, the original Dawn of the Dead, but I don't think of him as an action director. Here, I was fine with having an action-adventure quality to it, because a lot of times the Mummy, when they do a Mummy film, is trying to be a horror film, but it was cool to see this type of difference. I could see this being an Indiana Jones type of movie, and I thought the cast did their jobs very well. Brendan Fraser I've always enjoyed, whether it be in Encino Man, among other films. I definitely think this is one of his best movies by far. As O'Connell, he has a likable personality. I do think he has a charisma in the film. He does fine in the sequels. The third one, maybe the script let him down, the director let him down. The second one I liked less than this, but I don't hate the Mummy Returns. I can have some fun with it. I definitely think this is the best of the Mummy films. It's way better than the Tom Cruise one, I'll say that. A shitload fucking better. I mean, the setup of the film, Arnold Vosloo from Hard Target and the Dark Man sequels. He's messing around with the pharaoh's girl. Don't touch that poontang, because he gets his ass killed. Well, she gets killed, then he gets buried alive with the bugs and shit. That's one flaw I can say with the movie. The CGI bugs, I forget what kind they are. They don't hold up. Of the effects, that's the one that holds up the least, is the bugs. But a lot of the practicality of the sets, the construction, make it look like the 1920s with the costumes and where they shot it at. The actors, it has that fun serials, kind of like Indiana Jones. I keep mentioning that they have that entertaining personalities. I mean, Brendan Fraser and Kevin J. O'Connor, who's this two-faced guy who's always fucking people over. You have well-done battle sequences, like the first time we see Brendan Fraser, where he's shooting these rebels and just shooting guns, throwing them away, pulls out 2 more guns. Once in a while, there's a decent practical effect, like in the sand. I'm guessing it's practical. Maybe it was CG. I don't know. Where this face comes out of the sand. I thought that looked really cool. I'm guessing that's practical. I don't know. Rachel Weisz has a bubbly, can't even say the right, bubbly personality as his librarian, who accidentally fucks up the whole library in this domino effect. I didn't find her irritating or annoying. She was likable. John Hannah, who plays her brother. I thought the sense of humor worked fairly well in this one. I thought the humor worked well in here, the best of all the Mummy movies. I don't know if it just seemed more natural, or they were just... Maybe because in The Mummy Returns, then they became, oh, they're special people, they have special history, while here they were just normal people studying a crazy situation, which that just intrigues me more. I was talking about the humor. Later on, Rachel Weisz and John Hannah, they find Brendan Fraser arrested in jail. It's like, who's the broad? And they're talking, and he says he knows where they need to go, this hidden city. It's like, yeah, I've been there. You swear? Every damn day. No, I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. I like that bit. But pretty much, they get him out, they go along with the journey. And just the terrors worked well together. They find Kevin J. O'Connor, and he's talking shit about Brendan Fraser. You always did have more balls than brains. And he's smiling, laughing, and Brendan Fraser, the way he makes it. Goodbye, Benny. Throws his ass overboard. So that's what I mean by the humor. I thought it seemed natural, and it worked with the characters. It didn't seem too slapsticky, parody-like. I don't know if that made sense. And then when the action scenes happen, you get the 2-pistol bang, these rebels trying to kill Rachel Weisz and try to get the thing she has. And he's like, almost like a, well, John Woo's pushing it, but it doesn't have slow-mo or anything. But any time I think of 2-pistol bang, I always think of John Woo and Hard Target, things of that nature. But it was cool to see that. Or he beats a guy up and kicks him into the fire. And I don't know, just the way the actions were handled and the way Brendan Fraser was doing the punches, like... And the music. This is where I can mention the music by Jerry Goldsmith. My favorite composer, may he rest in peace. I highly, highly miss Jerry Goldsmith. His work on the early Rambo films and Star Trek the Motion Picture and Leviathan and Runaway and many other films I grew up with. And he did a fantastic job here. I mean, the last time he worked with an Indiana Jones type of movie was King Solomon's Mines, which is a great score. I like the movie, some don't, but it's a great score. And here, another fantastic score. My favorite piece is when Brendan Fraser is rescuing the girl from the priest at the end. And such a... If you ever find that piece of music, probably can't play here because of copyright, but very just high energy. Just that's the thing. I think sadly a lot of people nowadays in the movie industry don't realize is how important music can be. You do have a decent scene or a good scene, sometimes even a bad scene, but the music can help propel it. If you do it right, the music can help with the soul of a motion picture. and give it another breath of life or energy to it, or adrenaline, or sadness, or emotion, or whatever emotion you tried to convey. And Jerry Goldsmith's music is definitely an important part of the movie. And one thing leads to another, they get to the site. There's other people, including some Americans. They get to the site as well. Oded Fehr, who is in some of the Resident Evil movie sequels, among others, he warns them, you need to go. But one thing leads to another, they find this book, it's read, the mummy comes back. And in retrospect, I wish they would have used a bit more practical effects, because it's 1999 CGI, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, because it's not like it's CGI today. And for the time, I'm sure it worked. Again, I do wish they would have just made like a practical skeleton type of suit. Something you would see even in Creepshow. You think of the opening segment of Creepshow, the Father's Day, and you had the zombie skeleton thing. Like, you could have had something like that. And then each time you see it, you put more skin and more practical effects. I think that could have been done. 'Tis is not as if this creature was jump kicking and doing fucking flips and shit. So, in retrospect, some practical effects utilized for the mummy, I think would have benefited it greatly. But I mean, fuck, I've seen worse CGI in some movies today compared to this. So maybe because I didn't mind, I liked the movie itself, so I'll deal with it, or some of the design, the look, I'll deal with. But if someone would ask me what's one of the weaker aspects, it's the CGI. I do think the CGI bugs are the worst CG in the movie, but it's definitely not as bad as the Scorpion King and Mummy Returns. But it just, again, I've seen other lower budgeted films that have creatures that look more skeleton. Return of the Living Dead, some other movies like the Tar Man, Return of the Living Dead. But have the mummy look kind of like that. I think that would have been even better. Or maybe the sense of humor does work and help alleviate that. Brendan Fraser first sees it and he screams back at it and he shoots it with the shotgun. And then the rest of the plot is the mummy is rejuvenating itself more and more and killing people by doing it. Some pretty decent, I wouldn't say graphic, but pretty decent ways of showcasing that with the PG-13 rating. One person gets killed all in shadow, and you see him rise up and crumple and crumble. Not crumble, but get twisted and emaciated, all via shadows. Thought that was an interesting directorial choice. Of course, takes the girl, they gotta go after it. Yeah, the sandstorm scene, which I probably would say that's the best of the CGI effects, is the sandstorm scene, at least compared to the other stuff. Whether that's good as what it would look today, well, but of the other CGI, I would say that's the better CGI effect. And I do appreciate that some of the priests are practical. The only way, I guess the only time they really go CGI with that is when Brendan Fraser's fighting them, which I can understand because they try to showcase him cutting arms and legs and stabbing through them and all this stuff. That would be, see, that I can understand being fairly tough with doing it all practical. That I can understand. And then the music helps that scene a lot, as well as Brendan Fraser's acting and him handling the sword. And it's like, mummies. Yeah, it does. It's a movie that doesn't take itself 110% serious, which some may think that's a bad thing. I thought that was a good thing. It's not parody. It takes itself seriously enough that you believe in the dangers of the situation, but has enough of a sense of humor that... And this humor works a lot better than Tom Cruise's The Mummy with the fucking outright steal theft of American Werewolf in London with his buddy. He keeps decomposing each time I see him. I'm like, you have a dead buddy, dead pal, dead buddy. Each time you see him, he decomposes more and more. How is that not an American Werewolf in London, you fucking thieves? I mean, you just say this movie was inspired by Indiana Jones, but works a lot better here than... Fuck Tom Cruise's The Mummy, this piece of shit. I ranted on that. If you see, I wasn't doing this now. When I think of Tom Cruise and The Mummy, I want to fucking burp. With that said, again, my flaws, nitpicks, the CGI does not hold up the best, especially the scarabs. I think that's what's called, the scarabs. Even The Mummy itself, I do wish they would have taken more points, more influence from Return of the Living Dead or Creepshow. It showcased a more practical. Maybe it's one of those things, if they did that, they thought they would get an R rating, but because it's CGI, it looks more cartoony. I don't know the whole details. Maybe it's displaying the making of, I don't know. But with that said, fun, breezy pace, characters that I thought were likable, had fun personalities, really like Brendan Fraser. Yeah, you get some good action, you get some two-pistol bang or some shotgun fun, some nice sword fights, great Jerry Goldsmith music. It definitely has that old school adventure Indiana Jones type of feel to it, and a very fun escapism popcorn movie. And 1999 was a decent year because you had The Matrix, you had, what was it, The Blair Witch Project, granted a very different movie. I know you had films like The General's Daughter, which I didn't mind. You had The Sixth Sense, Star Wars The Phantom Menace. You had quite a few other films that came out that year, and I thought this was definitely one of the better films of that year. But yeah, fun movie, fun, entertaining, escapism, adventure flick. So, I don't know what else to say, but thank you guys for watching. Take care, and we will see you in the next video. Later.